Okay, this is my April, May and June hits and misses. I've got more than I thought I would, and some of these products I've only used a couple of times, so I'm just gonna get through this as quickly as I can. So the first one is the Makeup Revolution baking powder in lace. I've been really enjoying this because it's got like a pinkish cast, which reminds me a lot of my Too Faced peach powder, and it's a nice fine powder without it being HD fine, and it's one of the only shades that I can use. The Ghost one is way too white cast, the Banana one is just yellow, but this one's really nice. I don't like the container though. So I want to mention this brush. This has been one of my absolute favourite brushes at the moment. This is by NYX. I don't know the full name of this and it doesn't have a number. The way it's shaped is really cool for doing highlight, because you place highlight directly on that part and you can just sort of pull it like that. I swear it might be a dupe for the small fluff brush by Colourpop. I haven't tried it yet, but the way Kathleen Lights goes on about it, that she can just like place it right there and it picks up a lot of pigment and sticks it right on the cheekbone. I swear this does exactly the same thing. I'm going to do foundations last because I have quite a few and I didn't realise I tested that many. I have the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast. I didn't put this down for like 2 months. This is a shimmery sheen. I love the packaging of it. I love that it's like a golden shade. I feel like I have an Essence one that does look similar, but it's nowhere near as good as this. This is probably my holy grail bronzer. Sorry, Too Faced. Speaking of holy grail, this Ofra highlight has been getting a lot of love these past 3 months. I haven't been using it most of June because I have a different highlight that I'm going to mention, but this one, mixing these two together, this is the Nikkietutorials collab, I'm sure I don't need to mention. It's so creamy. It's such a smooth formula. I love these shades. I also really like this one for putting on the lids. I don't use it obviously as often, but it's so good. If you want something a bit more cheap and has even more shades, then the NYX Born to Glow is where it's at. Look at the amount of shades you get. I swatched these two. Obviously they're not the exact same shades, but they're pretty close. I mean, look how many shades you get. You get a pink, you get a peach, you get a gold, you get a bronze, you get almost like a chocolate shade, and then this bright white shade. Super smooth, super pigmented, super blinding. Okay, so a miss for me has been the Urban Decay All Nighter. The spray on it is fine. I like it. The smell is okay. I could live without it. But I just don't think that this makes my makeup last anywhere near as long as my Kat Von D one. As travel friendly as this bottle is, and I'm glad I got this one rather than a full one, I don't love it as much as those ones. Okay, an absolute hit has been the NYX Control Freak. Now I know I mentioned this in my drugstore Holy Grails. You know, you find stuff, you stop using things, and I've been using tinted brow gels a lot recently. But this one I've been using with the brow products I'll mention in a second. This is the best clear brow gel, hands down, at the drugstore. There's just nothing better. If you want fluffy brows, this holds your brows up so well. It's clear, so you don't have to worry about any white cast or anything like that. The amount of times I've brushed through my brows and I end up with tinted brow gel and I end up getting it too high, and then I have to try and clean it up. But with clear brow gel, you don't have to worry about that. If you want a clear brow gel that's actually, I think, better than the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow gel. Okay, something else I've been trying out that I don't particularly love is the Laura Mercier foundation primer in Radiance. I don't get it. I don't feel like this does enough to warrant the higher price point. Obviously I got a smaller one, thankfully, but even on Amazon I think this was like £18, and this is still almost full because it's just does so little that I don't use it. I don't understand you, and I don't understand why everyone likes it. Okay, so the brow product I actually meant to mention next is probably my favourite high-end brow product, and it's a lot of other people's as well. This is the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This obviously has a super fine point. I had already tried Brow Definer. I find the names really strange. I feel like the Brow Definer should be this one because it's super thin, whereas the Brow Wiz should be the triangular one because you can do your brows really quickly. I get really confused with the names. I got the shade Auburn. It's so thin. It's just up here. It's so thin, it's so smooth, and it creates brow hairs so easy. I know that a lot of people go on about the Benefit one, but I really do believe that Anastasia Beverly Hills has the best brow products out there. Okay, so let's quickly go through concealers because I could be here forever. So I used to use the Maybelline Fit Me on like a day-to-day basis. Not a lot because I used to have the shade 15. 15 was the lightest shade, I believe. Not anymore. I have the shade number 5. Look how light that is. And I love using my Wet n Wild concealer, which again I've fallen back in love with. I'll use this underneath my eye because it covers dark circles, I feel like, better, and then I'll put this higher up on my cheekbone, so I'll drag this further, and oh, great combination. I have been constantly using my Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. This is in the shade Porecelin. Super light. Probably could be a bit lighter, but I make it work. If I need to cover up any redness, spots, anything like that, this is my go-to. And lastly, my Tarte Shape Tape. Now I know this sounds weird. I don't want to love Tarte Shape Tape. I do love Tarte Shape Tape. But I don't want to love it because it's so expensive. You should be able to get something just as good from the drugstore. But as much as look how light that is as well. As much as I love my drugstore concealers, I still love my Wet n Wild and my Catrice. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm going to end up buying a new one when this runs out or goes dry or goes bad. So a foundation I have a love-hate relationship with is the LA Girl Pro Matte. Now, I love this foundation. I love how matte it is. It's one of the only foundations, if the only foundation, that I don't get oily in. As long as I bake my face in my T-zone, I won't get oily for almost 12 hours with this. That's incredible for a drugstore foundation. The problem is the shade. Again, this is beige. This is the lightest shade they do. LA Girl, please. And I know dark shade girls have exactly the same problem, but we need a really light shade and we need really dark shades because I'm pale. I'm really pale. And this also kind of oxidizes a little bit. So it just gets darker. And because of that, I can't use you. And I love you. But the colour looks awful on me. A foundation that's been incredible for me is the Match Perfection. Now, this doesn't work very well for me on its own. I've been mixing it with high-end full coverage foundations, which on their own break apart within about 5 hours on my oily skin. Mix this in with these. Whoa. This is also in a super light shade, which is really good. This is in light porcelain. So it's this here, again, proper light. When I mix this in with either of these, my foundation, my base looks amazing. This is a miracle worker. Again, can't use it on its own. For oily skin, mix it in with some of your thick foundations that don't really work on a long-term basis and watch it do magic. We're almost there. We also have the Becca, what is this? The Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. I keep trying to love this. Now, it's a really pretty shade. Really gorgeous, champagne-y, amazing shade. I think it's too powdery. Just wish that this was just a bit more smooth and creamy. Don't hate it, but don't love it. Something I do not like and you'll be surprised, is the Benefit Gold Rush. It's a warm golden nectar blush, apparently. It smells so good. Now, I love the idea of this blush. I'm going to swatch it. Can you even see that? And that is the problem I have on my skin. It's too fair. I have a blush that is almost exactly the same as this by Milani, which I will be doing a dupe video for very soon. It shows up on my cheeks so much better than this does. This was disappointing. I have only loves left. I have the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. For the first 2 months, I was doing my little Rimmel trick. For the last month, I have been using this in Snow. The shade is just a little bit too yellow, just here. I can make it work with a bit of concealer, just to brighten up the face or something. Best high-end foundation for oily skin. The Kat Von D one I like, but it breaks apart too quickly. This one will last on your face. I promise. As long as you're oily skinned. I didn't want to try this because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love it. I've loved all the other peach stuff. There's no way I'm going to love all of it. I love you. So good, so smooth, so comfortable, so matte. I cannot say enough good things. Favourite matte high-end foundation. Lipsticks, I have wearing sort of the same ones, but I've been using this Gigi Hadid lip liner in McCall constantly. It's this really pinky kind of shade, super nude, obviously, but I've been lining my lips and filling my lips in with this all the time, and I'm pairing this lip liner for a lot of deep dark eyes. It just looks so beautiful, and they're super creamy. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly talk about these two palettes. I have the Barry M Fall in Love palette. If I haven't been using this matte palette in accordance with a couple of random shimmers I've been using my Jaclyn Hill palette. Now I know I was testing this for a while anyway, and I did that video, my Jaclyn Hill review, which I'll put in the cards. I could not stop using this. Like, this palette has ruined me for other palettes because this is just so many good shades in it. And it's such a shame about the Vault that it didn't have some of the pigmentation that a lot of people wanted, because if it had the same as this, I would have been yours. I would have been yours forever. Because there was so many good shades in that. I mean, the purple one I was just a bit like, whatever. But the yellow one with those greens and that greeny blue palette, ooh, lovely. But yeah, if I haven't been using that, I've been using this matte palette because, like I said before, I love the orange, red and yellow shade in here. I talked about this in my top 3 matte palette. If you haven't seen it already, check it out in the cards. I went through that pretty quickly. I'm pretty proud of myself. That was all of my favourites from April, May and June for this year. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. Check out my previous favourites. If there's something that you really enjoyed in April, May and June, please leave a comment down below letting me know what that was. And yeah, I will hopefully see you all very, very soon in my next video. Bye.